And good morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. We are into already Wednesday, believe that or not. Midweek, the rush is on. We'll have Sheriff Ward Calhoun joining us this morning at 7 o'clock for the local event, so make sure you're here for that show. We're getting more information about the accident that happened near Jackson last night, Byram. We had a picture of that, and it looks as though it may have been a state trooper possibly involved in that. We're getting more details on it as the morning comes about. Traffic. We also had a rollover accident, Meridian, would be I-59 there, mile marker 147 in the southbound lane. That happened around 4 this morning. It's all cleared up at this point, but boy, what a mess these things make in the early. And I guess we have to give credit. We'll get into more details of local things, but when it comes to the rain yesterday, I would have thought there would have been more. We were very fortunate as far as major accidents yesterday during those heavy rains that we had. It all worked out good for us. Hope your day is going well as we get it going. 53 right now. I'm not sure if I gave you the temp. We'll get to 66 before it's all said and done. So join us for that. We'll be right back in just a moment as we get this day underway. Look forward to it. Let's find out what happens this morning in Collinsville.
Have you ever eaten something so refreshing that it just resonates within you? It might even revive your soul.
A long time ago, back in the 20th century, the year was 1997. The band was Chumbawamba and the song was Tub Thumping. As I read today's word of wisdom, my mind immediately pulled up that song, which said in Chumbawamba's British accent, I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. Y'all remember that song? You might be thinking, Ben, what in the world did you read in the Bible that reminded you of that? Well, it's found right here in Proverbs 24, verse 16. It says, the righteous falls 7 times and rises again. You see, in the Bible, the number 7 is the number of completion, the number of perfection. When the Bible here says that if you knock a righteous man down 7 times, he'll get up 7 times. In other words, he gets knocked down, but he gets up again. You're never going to keep him down. He always gets back up, even when he gets knocked down. So, beloved, the righteous man or woman cannot be kept down. They have conviction. They have hope. They have strength that is otherworldly. They have God's favor. They know they're on the right side of history because they're on God's side of history, and they have a mandate from God. So, righteous one, have you been knocked down? Well, by the power of God, get up. The world can never keep you down. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. And welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that. Already 6:34 this morning. How do you feel? Odie's made it in. Again, the sheriff will be joining us in a little while as we begin this. Sometimes rumors get started across America, and I looked into this because a lot of people talked about it over the last few years. If that's not right, we think it should be brought back after, I guess you'd call it woke. Who hasn't had in their lifetime syrup by Aunt Jemima? Do you remember that? They changed the label. The family didn't want it. Well, I saw a post earlier that was headline saying that they were bringing it back. And as we got into this, it was all fake. No such thing. The company is not doing anything. So if you happen to see that out there, it's not true. That's not happening at all. It's moving right ahead with what they've got. The company 23andMe, are y'all familiar with that? Now, and there's other ones that do that also, where you send in your DNA and they tell you all about your genealogy. I'm just not sold on all of that. Speaking of sold, they're laying off 200 people. Talks, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there's always talks about it. It could be sold. What happens if your DNA ends up with a company that you didn't want it with in a sale? That's a lot of talk going along about this. At 23andMe has also had a lot of surprise Christmas guests, you might say, due to that site. I don't know. It's not something that I would want to do. Totally up to you, but not my cup of tea there. I mean, you let one monkey get out, it's not that big of a deal, but 38. The last count, we were down to 6 still escaped in South Carolina. But what this has done, and I keep bringing it back, is there is now a huge investigation into the company where the monkeys escaped from. Ruh-roh. Nothing like bringing attention to your company, is it? That's what's happened there. We'll see what becomes of this. It's Alpha Genesis Research Lab. They got more federal agents all over them. We'll see what becomes of it there. In a new lawsuit, Sean Puff Daddy, or P. Daddy, however you go by, is now accused of sexually assaulting a 39-year-old male. I also did see that some notes that was seized in his jail cell may have been acquired illegally on a search. He was writing a note of things that need to be done in his home. It was taken from him. They're saying you can't do that. It's his piece of paper, I guess. He could have done what he wanted. They're saying it's going to have to be destroyed and not used against him. Apparently there was some wording on there that could be harmful to his case of what he was wanting family members to do. We'll see what becomes of it. This was, she was a dancer, I think is the way to word this. She was 22 years old. This was found, if I'm not mistaken, out in Arizona. She was found in a car burning. Of course, she was deceased. They have now made an arrest in this. She didn't deserve to go that way. We certainly hope that justice is served on this. That was a big case for Arizona. Let's see here. Drought warning. I can't believe this. New York City has its first one that they've issued in 22 years of a drought. New York City is dry. A lot of corruption, but it's dry also there. I don't... Philadelphia, PA. I don't want this confused with Mississippi, but Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Police arrive on scene. There's a man lying in a driveway. It's burning. The description giving as they investigate this is, well, it's suspicious. You think? Call it what it is. We'll wait to see what happens with that. Ramaswamy says he's ready to go. I'm shocked by this. Maybe y'all know this, and I just live in my own little world, but 2024, we're almost in 2025. I thought everybody had gone back to work, that they were not all sitting at home hiding from COVID on government jobs. I really thought everybody was there. Apparently not. Ramaswamy says he's bringing a jackhammer and a sledgehammer as he goes back to work and says, you will too. They're going to be cutting jobs. Honestly, I had no clue. Occasionally, you'll see the person still driving aimlessly past you wearing a mask with no one in the car with them. Every now and then you do see that. Do y'all remember we brought this up that there were 3 people stabbed in New York? This was, I think we brought it up this week. 3 separate, and they were all tied together. Oh, guess what? The guy that did it was turned out of jail last month. A long history of being a bad guy. Really, we've got to do a better job nationwide before these people are put back on the streets or slapped on the hand for crimes that are serious to where they go back. 3 people now are no longer with us because whoever it was, a judge, whoever's responsible for that, cost these people their lives. New York. We see more and more of it each day there. Comcast is splitting, so to speak. You know, they own MSNBC, that show that's got the Morning Joe guy. It's splitting from the main company, and it will become its own entity with a couple of other little stations there. Tells me it's not profitable, and they're wanting to move that over to where it doesn't hurt their bottom line. Ratings are tanking on that show, by the way. We'll see if the meeting with Trump helps them. Good luck to them. We don't want to see anybody fail. You have a different way than we think. Well, maybe you can adjust your audience. We'll see there. Always check this. Gas companies that you buy your propane from will come out and check your house for gas leaks. We see in Ohio 2 people have died. Houses exploded as they had a leak, major leak. Always, if you smell something, contact someone. They'll come out and check it for you. Let's see here. This is becoming... I watched about 2 minutes of Sean Hannity, and I walked by and I saw Laura Ingraham, and then I did see it on a post on CNN about this. The bill, I think we may have brought it up yesterday as we go to Congress. They're getting ready to pass the bill or submit it to be voted on about the bathroom bill. They're giving the lady that is introducing this a hard time. There are 400-something members of Congress. There's one person that can't decide which bathroom to go to. None of the ladies want to go to the bathroom with a man. It's a big controversy in Washington, D.C. We'll see where this goes. Will they do right by the majority or vote in favor of one person? I watched some making the argument for it, and it just made no sense. It's what cost the Democrats the election, in my opinion. That's just an opinion. You may not agree with that. Am I wrong? Bathrooms. It has little pictures on there. We saw that years ago, though, coming, didn't we? When, was it South Carolina when the NBA tried to get all, was it South Carolina or North Carolina where the ball games were going to be held, basketball games, and the NBA stood up and was telling them that they needed to let people use opposite. But y'all remember that? That's been a few years ago. This has been brewing. I did not know this. Maybe you did. Maybe you caught it and I didn't. During the campaign for president, when it gets down to it, the leading candidates usually start getting intel from the White House of what's going on in case they were to win. I did not know that Trump refused to take the information. Did y'all know that? No. And he had a reason that he didn't. He didn't want anyone to say that he was leaking information that the White House had. Pretty smart move. I'm sure that would have happened. He is now accepting the information, but he would not do it during the campaign trail. I had no idea on that. And I didn't even think of that would have happened. There's been so many allegations and things. I can see how you would be kind of guarded as to what you got. Mm-hmm. And he done as Barney did. He nipped it in the bud. If you're not getting it, you can't leak anything you don't have, can you? Cut that out. Uh-oh, New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers, I think, plays for them. He's a quarterback, isn't he? Yeah. Hadn't been home to see his family in years. Again, that's personal. I don't know why, but I see interviews about it. They fired the general manager of that. He had a 6-year contract. Their season didn't go so well. Looks like Aaron will be there. He's out. That's if you watch football. You may do it. The guy that really wants to be the face of the Democrat Party, Newsom, he's the governor out in California. It says he's going to hold off on the Mendez, how do you say the name? Menendez brothers. Y'all remember them? Until they get the new LADA gets to weigh on that. So it's not going to be announced as quickly as we thought. Will they go free? I wouldn't doubt it. We'll see what becomes of it, though. There's a lot to that story. They've been in jail for a long time now. You've always heard this as long as I've lived. Why would you want to jump out perfectly good airplane? There's people that love skydiving. It's not for me. I love to fly. I like that. But nor would I ever want to open the door and feel the wind in my face and jump out with a pair of goggles. We send condolences this morning. It took them a couple hours to realize that the person was missing. Louisiana, they did a jump. They never showed up. 2 hours later, they went searching, and as they thought, the person lost their life. Parachute failure. It didn't open up.
I'll do a live when I jump out.
Yeah, you just go do a live. We'll put a GoPro on you, Odie. You'll see me in the front seat going,
big dummy.
I'll do my best Fred Sanford for you. We all know Jay Leno. I even had a chance years, in 1995 was the year, I think. I flew to L.A. I remember landing down and seeing things I'd never seen in my life that you just don't see in Mississippi. I was kind of shocked. I had to call home and say, Angie, you ain't believe what I saw 2 people doing in public. Shame. But I did get to go to Jay Leno's studio. I remember standing in front of it. We took our picture. I don't know what become of it. Jay Leno was headed to a gig to do a comedy routine. I guess, I don't know who he was going to dinner with, but he slipped and fell and rolled. Broke his wrist, blacked his eye. He has a patch over his eye, and he went right on, dusted himself off, all banged up, and still done his comedy gig, all bruised up. Bless his heart. As they say, the show must go on. He's tough.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that would not have continued with that, but he didn't want people to be disappointed they'd spent their money to come see him. Plus, he still got a paycheck, but it shows ambition there of still continuing what you've got to do. Because really and truly, the show must go on if someone's depending upon you. And he did that. He was safe. He was just banged up there. What else is happening here? They've arrested a Florida man for allegedly having some weapons with silencers and had a list of targets. He's in deep trouble now. And that's good that they've caught him, that we're not talking about this on the other side. We're glad that he was taken into custody if he was going to do something like that. We can't have that in America. We've got to lock down on all of that. We'll be right back. We've got your forecast. We'll find out what's going to happen. It's nice outside. If you opened your front door, 53. It's nice and cool. Enjoy it while we've got it. We'll be right back. More coming up.
While everyone is getting ready for Thanksgiving, family, and football, there's an important runoff election coming up on November the 26th. I'm Jennifer Branning. It's time to bring new energy in a new generation of constitutional conservative leadership to the Mississippi Supreme Court. In this election, there's a difference. I'm the only candidate with legislative and courtroom experience, and I'm the only candidate endorsed by the Mississippi Republican Party. I ask for your vote for Supreme Court the Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
The selection is always changing at Massey Supermart Auto Sales with low-mileage cars and trucks. How about a 2022 Jeep Wrangler or a 2021 Honda Ridgeline Sport with only 40,000 miles? A GMC Denali or a 2024 Silverado 2500? Drop in today and find the car that you're looking for. They're packed with low-mileage cars and trucks.
The low-profit dealer, Massey Supermart.
Welcome back. I just got a text from somebody. I'll have to look into this. It says, hey, why don't you talk about this? And the headline says, Mississippi asked court to set execution for man that's been on death row since 1976. I didn't know about that. We'll see what that is about that, what he did and why hasn't it happened. We'll see. We'll call someone. Let's get into our weather forecast now.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
Here we go as we'll go back to 1973. Ooh, I was 4, and it was hot. 83 on this date. Back in 1914, hardly a man is still around. It was 20 degrees. My, oh my, as we move forward today. Here it is, 67 is what we're looking for there. We're going to start to see a sunny sky. Now, we had a lot of fog last night, so watch that as you're traveling. Early this morning, that fog in those low-lying areas around ponds, and well, if you got to cross a lake or anything like that around that, reservoirs. Watch those. As we go to Bama, same thing, 67, 68 is the best we'll see. A teeny bit cooler in Birmingham, 70-ish over in Auburn today. As we look here now, this is what we've got, strong winds. This is going to start moving in from 9 until 7. We'll have to hold my hat, as they say, as I walk around today. 30-mile-an-hour gust is what we're expecting there, and it could gust up to 40 from time to time. What this could do is break trees. We had one yesterday that we'll talk about this morning. Tree limbs fall. If you live in a home that has a tree that's directly over where you sit and watch television or where you eat, don't stay in that area today. Go somewhere else. We've got some professionals, Mike Reed, to help you get rid of those trees if you need to do so. Now, this is shocking, isn't it? Where we're sitting in this nice weather, we do have a potential for a frost freeze coming up, anywhere from 28 to 35 this weekend. This goes into Clark County. This will go right across Quitman, Rose Hill, as we go west toward Jackson. All this area of Philadelphia, you've got it. Also Winston County, all the way up to Columbus. Jackson, you're involved with this also with us. If you're watching from Jackson this morning, y'all be ready for this. It's going to be cold as we look at that. Frost freeze. And I know I didn't change that at the top. I got carried away early this morning, but that's a frost freeze on the way this weekend. That's going to be Friday and Saturday mornings. We'll look at the temperatures there. Look at this as we show you what's forecasted for the next 10 days. A little bit warmer there. We've got cooler weather out on the California coast, but we have still warmer weather there. Not saying so this weekend, is it? Here's what we've got forecasted here. 66 today. 0% chance of rain until next Tuesday. Thursday, 62. We get nippy tomorrow night at 37, and here's where everything is a guessing game. It looks like the Meridian area has a bigger chance on Friday night than it does on Saturday. But 33 is set for the low on Friday night. Definitely a frost on both of those probably coming. High of 57 on Friday. You will need a jacket. 61 on Saturday. And again, these areas here could dip as we look at this. Now, areas probably north of here will be a little bit colder than they normally are, all the way up to Stark Vegas, Winston, when y'all get into this. We'll look at the calendar at the map here in just a moment and go deeper into that. As we go another week into, well, we're into December already. As we pass Thanksgiving, we roll into this. Look, 63 and December the 4th. We'll have some 50s and 60s. It will eventually start coming down is what we're seeing there. Slight chances of rain, nothing major in all of that. What's happening with the fishing forecast today? November the 20th is today. As we look at this, major time was before daylight. 4 o'clock this morning. It ended at 6. Another major time will be this afternoon, 4:30 until 6:30. And again, it's going to be windy. Look at what we've got here. North-northwest, 5 to 10 sustained winds, increasing to 15 to 20. The gust will hit 30. That's going to be pretty strong. Now, as we flip from J&J, we'll go out to see our friends at Wimberley Taxidermy. This is what's happening with deer hunting today. Perfect time to hunt this afternoon, 3:30 to 5:30. But we warn you, if you're in a tree stand, if you're climbing, it's going to be swaying, as we'll see those gusts anywhere from 30 to 40. Boy, howdy. Sustained winds of 20 from time to time. So it's going to be tough to hunt our fish today. Nothing happening on the National Hurricane Center as we look at that. Now, let's go back over and pull up radar this morning so you get a bird's eye view of exactly what's happening here with the weather. Now, as we zoom into this, let's pull this up where you can see what I'm looking at here as we go to Honda Meridian radar. A little bit of fog is still lingering up here east of Starkville as you get near Crawford, where the road splits north of Macon. When you take that alternative right to go to Columbus, you're going to get a little bit of fog there before you get in. As we back out, we see fog, Huntsville, Chattanooga, and those areas there. Nothing major going on. Here's some wind advisories down here in Baton Rouge. But let's do this. Let's go up here. I didn't pull this up to look at everything we had. Let's look at Winston. And let's just see here. This ought to be somewhere in Louisville. Let's just look at this. As we look at the forecast, we also see that it's forecasting about the same for Louisville at 33 on Friday night and 37 on Saturday, almost a carbon copy of what we've got for Meridian. So it looks like frost instead of freeze. But let me say this, it's Mother Nature. Don't forget that. Let's go a little bit further. Let's look at Amory, Mississippi, what they've got forecasted here as we get into the weekend. Freezing at 32 Friday night, 36 Saturday night. As we get on up a little bit to Oxford, let's see what's happening there with the weather. As we look at their forecast, we'll see 32 also and 38 on Saturday night. So we're going to at least get a frost out of this. No major below freezing is projected at this point, but it's the first of the season. It'll be nippy, that's for sure. We'll be right back as we get ready to start this morning. Can you believe it's already 5 till? We're going to be back live in just a couple of moments here, 2 minutes, as the morning show begins. Again, the sheriff will be in with us. We've got a lot to talk about of what's gone on over the last 24 hours. Join us, won't you? It all begins here at the Scotty Ray Report.